Kids Detective, a story about a magical pearl, adventure stories for kids. Written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. An object is stolen, but not just any object. The biggest monument in town. When everyone is panicking and worried, it's up to Garso to be the calm, intelligent detective. He sets out on a journey to distant lands and hopes to discover the meaning of the monument's disappearance. What he finds is something that blows his mind. Chapter 1. The Monument. Garso still remembers the day it was built. The Shining Star Monument portrays a man and a woman in warrior clothes, holding a sword in one hand at the bottom and raising their left hands in the air upholding a star. The man and woman look young and innocent, but have a determined look on their faces. They are the symbol of the nation's youth, the future generation. Its message is that the youth from today will be tomorrow's leaders, and that taking care of them is one of the adults' greatest duties. It's about 50 feet high. The statue is paved with gold. The splendor of the statue surpasses all competing tourist sites and attracts tourists from all over the world. Thousands of daily photographers come to observe the magnificence and symbolism of this monument, which is placed in the center of the giant metropolis. Garso loves the statue. His aspirations to get married and have children someday are still in the back of his mind. He sighs as he looks up and remembers his own heroic days in the army, about 5 years ago, when he was fighting off invading monsters and zombies in the forests, driving back ghastly ghosts to the borderlands, and protecting the offspring of others who relied on the soldiers' true courage. Those were the good old days, he says. And although those moments were filled with death and destruction, he also realizes the adventurous wars have made him stronger. Well, I better go home, he says after finishing his lunch on a bench. He glances at the statue one more time and betakes himself to his apartment. It has been a lazy day, one of those odds and ends days that require someone to fix this, make a phone call there, or sign some boring paperwork. Garso works for the city's main detective office, a place so big that they need 5 floors with co-workers and managers to fill up the place. He is just one of many, and he never received a complicated assignment. Most of the cases he has solved involved finding a missing cat, intervene in marriage disputes, and an actual crime committed by a petty thief. He doesn't mind, though. He is satisfied with his life. Why would he try to do more? He has done this for several years now, and he is good at it. Too bad his superiors don't acknowledge that, but Garso is confident that they will give him some bigger cases to solve someday. He leans back in his comfy chair. It doesn't seem like anything major is about to happen anyway. Reports of crimes have diminished, and the city has been fairly peaceful lately. The more reason to sleep better, Garso says before he decides to close his eyes. Then he falls asleep on his chair after drinking from a big cup of hot chocolate. Chapter 2. Disappearance. The next morning, when Garso arrives at the detective office, everything is in commotion. Employers are running from one end of the room to the other, paperwork is all over the floor, and it seems like half of the people there are on the phone. What is going on here? Garso asks one of his friends, whose name is Marthas. You mean to say that you haven't heard it? Marthas asks. No, that's why I'm asking. The monument is down, man. It's gone, and nobody has the slightest idea what happened to it nor when it happened. The whole department here is preoccupied with it. They need answers before the population goes crazy. And when will that be? Garso asks. I don't know, but you know how it is. Whenever some disaster happens, people get scared, and when they panic, chaos isn't too far away anymore. We've got to do something. Then Garso's boss comes at him. Garso, he says, why are you so late? Do you have any idea what kind of a mess we are in? Marthas just told me, Garso says. Well, aren't you lucky to have a friend? Now get to your computer and start doing some research to help us out. We are desperate. "Excuse me, sir," Garso says, "but wouldn't the best way to do research be at the site? What are we going to find here? It certainly didn't happen at the office." "Oh, so you think you're smart, don't you? Well, in that case, I've got an idea." Garso is surprised when he hears his boss say the following: "Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? From now on, Garso is the lead detective for this case. He will be in charge. Thank you. Carry on." What are you doing?" Garso asks. "I've never solved a case this big." "Then here's your chance to prove your worth," his employer says. "If you fail, I will fire you, so you better make it a success." "Great," Garso says sarcastically while rubbing his head and watching him walk away. From zero responsibility to leading the whole department. As soon as he turns around, 5 people stand in front of him. Hi, Garso says. "What can I help you with?" "Garso, where should I put these papers?" one of them asks. "Do you want me to call the mayor again and ask for a public statement?" a woman asks. "Can you help me format this document I'm working on?" "Which phone number should I refer the press to?" "What clues have we found so far, and am I at liberty to reveal them?" It becomes too much. Garso feels overwhelmed. He isn't sure how to aid all these people, so he says, "That's it, line up. I am going to answer your questions one by one. You first, let's go." After about an hour of answering questions and organizing the department, Garso is finally finished. "That was a big pile of work, wasn't it?" Marthas asks. "Yes, it was. I am ready to get out of here. How about you?" "Definitely," Marthas says. "Let's get some sandwiches for lunch." The duo leaves the office building and heads to the closest lunchroom. Once they are inside, they order a large pepperoni sandwich and a curry chicken sandwich. They sit down and wait for the waiter to bring it over. Garso isn't particularly fond of the hard wooden chairs, but he keeps himself from complaining and sits down to listen to Marthas. "We have to get some clues," Marthas says. "I agree. I don't think the office is the best place to find anything." "Right. So after lunch, shall we check out the monument site?" "You got it." They finish their sandwiches, Garso a lot faster than his friend, and go to the location of the monument that has just vanished that night. "Wow," Garso says when they arrive. "I didn't think it was possible." They look at the empty square and stare at the spot where they saw a 500-plus feet statue the previous day. "Unbelievable," Martha says. "Nothing is left." "Something must be there," Garso claims. "There is never a crime without evidence." "Still, how can you make an entire monument that big disappear in one night?" "Well, let's go over the possibilities," Garso says. "There is knocking it over and transporting it with the help of a semi-truck." "Nearly impossible." "Correct, so perhaps a helicopter." "Too heavy." "Also correct. Then there is the possibility of exploding the ground beneath it and having it drop into the sewer." "Which didn't happen because there is no hole in the ground." "And that brings us to—" "Absolutely nothing." Garso agrees. They've got nothing, but he still wants to look around. He walks back and forth and puts his magnifying glass on the ground. Police officers are standing in the back, chatting away and taking a break. Garso looks at the sky. "Still," he mumbles, "we've left out one final possibility." "Which is?" Marthas asks. "That the thief made use of magical items." "Oh, come on, Garso. You know there is no such thing as a magical item." Garso looks surprised. "I have fought magical creatures in the Borderlands. Don't tell me you don't believe in that. The world is mysterious. There has been proof of fire shovels, golden wings, magical potions of healing, and ultimate balls of power. Those are all realistic testimonies from reliable people." "I guess you're right, but what kind of item are you thinking of?" "No idea, Marthas. I have no idea. I think we should question people and find out more about this sudden mystery." "Let's start knocking on some doors over there," Marthas suggests. Chapter 3. Searching. Garso and Marthas start in the closest streets to the monuments. They knock on dozens of doors, but they can't get much valuable information from the city people. "One day it was there, and then it wasn't," a big man says. "We were in bed. How should we know?" two little girls ask. "Yeah, I've seen it," a man who smells like alcohol claims. "It was a magical moment, you know. The statue has risen to heaven, the symbol of justice and mercy, the ultimate beacon of truth for the nation. I told them it would happen. As soon as the city would become wicked, the statue would disappear. But did they listen? No. They said I was crazy. But I haven't slept for 3 days now, and I last ate 2 days ago. Does that sound crazy to you?" Another door they knock on has a big, loud dog behind it. "What do you want?" the owner yells. "We would just like to know if you've seen anything happen to the statue," Martha shouts back. "Why? What happened to it?" "Never mind." Another house is inhabited by an old woman. "You boys shouldn't bother peaceful civilians in this neighborhood. Shame on you," she says. "Look at me, for example. When I was young, we didn't have telephones or computers. All you young people are spoiled. I had to walk to school for 12 miles every day. I didn't have any shoes, so I made a pair of wooden shoes with my bare hands, only to make 2 cents per day after milking the cows and doing 5 hours of homework when I came home. You never heard of text messaging or technology back then? That's when people actually connected." "Well, that's very nice," Garso says. "But do you know anything about the disappearance of the statue?" "No," the old woman replies. "In fact, it was about time that ugly thing was gone. Do you know how many times that shiny silver shone in my eyes? One time I was walking on the street, and the reflection by the statue was—" "Good afternoon, madam," Martha says, interrupting her and walking away. They both walk into another street. The two detectives look disappointed. What are they going to do next? Then Garso's phone is ringing. He takes it out of his pocket and answers it. "I think we found something," he hears one of the co-workers from the office say. "I'll be there as fast as I can," Garso says. He hangs up and says, "Come on, Marthas, let's get to the bottom of this. Back to the office." When they arrive at the office, they receive a report from a witness. "This is Alex," the coworker says. "He says he saw something last night." "Speak up so we can all find out what is happening," Garso says. They sit down, and Alex begins. "I saw someone walk towards it. I was just coming back from my night shift at the hospital when it happened. I don't live too far away from the statue, and I always take a little detour to see how well it's lit up. But this time, I observed a shady figure." Garso and Marthas chuckled. "What exactly does a shady figure look like, Alex?" they ask. "Well, he looked up to no good, and he had a black with yellow hat. Very ugly," Alex answers. "That doesn't mean anything," Garso says. "But please continue. What happened after that?" "He stood in front of the monument and got something out of his pocket. It was a shiny object, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. Then he threw it at the statue, and the statue disappeared." "What?" Garso asks. "It just disappeared, just like that? That doesn't make any sense." "I know it doesn't," Alex says, "but that's what I saw, I swear. After the statue had vanished, the guy with the hat walked towards the empty spot and picked up the shiny object, after which he put it back into his pocket. I was angry. I ran towards him, but before I knew it, he had already jumped into a car that pulled over and had the driver take him out of sight. It all happened so fast, there was nothing I could do." "Okay, thank you for the tips. Is there anything else that we should know about?" Garso asks. "No, that was it. That was all." "Thanks. We will continue this investigation with the new information. You may go home." Chapter 4. The Precious Pearl. "What did you get out of Alex's testimony?" Garso asks. "What do you mean? Exactly what you did, right?" Martha says. "I guess you didn't get it," Garso says. "The black and yellow hat is only being worn by people who live in Devra country. The one who made the monument disappear is clearly from that region, and the shiny object that makes things disappear. Any idea what that could be?" Like I said, Garso, Marthas begins, I don't know much about those magical objects. It could be anything for all I know. But if you have any clue of what it might be, then please share your knowledge with me. It's a pearl, Garso says. They are very rare, but when you throw them against an object, it makes that object teleport. To where? Anywhere you're thinking of at the time you do it, Garso says. It's a truly remarkable item. What are you suggesting we should do? Marthas asks. We are going to Devra country. I bet we will find the answers there. No sooner said than done. The two detectives go on a trip to the distant land. They drive for about 7 hours southward and reach their destiny. When they arrive, the air feels thick. Devra country is a tropical place with beaches and hotels on the shores, but a less impressive history and government budget. Garso immediately sees the difference. The population looks poor and desperate to make a quick buck. When he gets out the car, 3 people come towards him to show them his new hotel or guide them through the city. Garso and Marthas politely decline unneeded services and set out on a journey to the city center of the capital. What they see there surprises them both. Oh, wow, Marthas says. So that was it then, Garso agrees. Marthas, I think we may have found our motive. Chapter 5. Competition. The two detectives watch in awe as a big red cloth gets pulled off a statue in the middle of the city square. The statue portrays a swirly dragon with 4 legs, lots of scales, hollow eyes, and a mouth with sharp teeth. Its demeanor looks threatening and powerful, the exact image the population is trying to sketch. The message they want to convey is recorded at the bottom of the monument, the strong rule. Marthas shivers. Why would anybody create a statue like that? He asks. The question is, why would anybody erect a statue at the exact same time that ours got stolen? Garso adds. They listen to the clapping of thousands of people who show their respect to the statue, which is nearly as big as the stolen youth statue from Garso's hometown. The crowd is going wild when a ribbon gets cut, and the mayor announces the dawning of a new era for this city, prosperity and abundance. He emphasizes the opening of new restaurants, hotels, and sites in the city, all starting with this new dragon statue. Hooray! The citizens cheer. Garso and Marthas watch the ceremony, the band, and the dancers that add to the celebration. It is obvious that some big investor in this improved tourist hub wants to beat the competition, and has taken a first step by eliminating the Shining Star monument. Garso and Marthas have already come to that conclusion. There, Marthas suddenly says, as he points to a man with a black hat and yellow ribbon on it. Well, he has the hat, Garso admits, but so does that guy. He points to another man in the opposite direction. And that woman, he says when he points to someone else. Okay, I just thought it could be the thief. We have to find him, Garso, and take that dangerous pearl away from him. I think so too. Let's go to one of these hotels, since they're new and look nice anyway, and figure out a way to uncover the truth. Garso takes some pictures of the entire happening, and after a few minutes, they leave the city square and check in at one of the hotel's lobbies. They get the key to the room, take the elevator to the upper floor, and walk into their hotel room. Ah, this is the life, Marthas says as he falls down on one of the beds. Get up, Garso says. We have work to do. We need to investigate this case. Fine, show me what you have. Well, these are the pictures of the square. I also got a map from one of the organizers that shows us where the hotels and restaurants are going to be. And over here, he says as he points to a location on the map, there will be nightclubs and minibars. It's all set up to become a major tourist destination. But why is the statue so important? Marthas asks. Look at these names, Garso says. Marthas looks. All the names are related to a dragon. The monument is the central theme in the whole city. Dragon Hotel, the Dragon Club, Dragon Moon Plaza, Hotel of the Fiery Dragon. You're right, Garso, But couldn't they do this without stealing our statue? They could, Garso answers, but it just gives them a bigger advantage. Think about it. When someone decides to go on vacation, will they come here or will they go to the city where we live? That depends, Martha says. On what? On whether they want a beach, a historical town, or a shopping mall. Right, but now this place has it all. What do you think the main site will be on all the postcards, in everyone's photo album, and in all the magazines? This gigantic monument, of course. Marthas and Garso discuss the matter for another hour, looking for clues on the map and reasoning together, while trying to come to a conclusion as of who has the biggest motive and who would make the most money by having a monopoly with the big dragon statue. They find nothing. It's getting late, Marthas finally says. We'll talk about it in the morning. Let's go to sleep. I want to go out, actually, Garso says. To do what? You know, hit the nightclubs, hang out in the city, that kind of stuff. Be my guest, Martha says. I am not into those things. Garso leaves the hotel and goes to one of the small restaurants. The restaurant is full of men and women who are chatting away and having a good time. One of the men approaches him and asks, "And who might you be, stranger? I've never seen you here before. Are you a tourist?" Yes, a tourist. That's what I am. My name is Garso. Well, Garso, it's good to have you here, especially after our little upgrade with the statue. They start talking and become best buddies. Garso is doing his best to get as much information out of this guy as possible. He figures that doing research requires a lot more than just searching the crime scene or becoming obsessed with papers and maps. The real life, the people, they know what's going on. That's what Garso thinks. Then, after some small talk and some 20 minutes of talking, the guy across from him says something interesting. You know, this monument is only good for the extremely rich. We don't all benefit from it. Why not? Garso asks. Have you heard of that guy Richard? He owns about 90% of the hotels here. That's right, he's the lucky winner in this game. Really? Garso says. How interesting. Yeah, have you heard of that rumor? Another guy says. What rumor? They say he made the Shining Star Monument disappear completely in one night. Scary stuff, man. It's crazy. Even more interesting, Garso says softly. He figures he knows enough and says goodbye to these men, after which he returns to the hotel. Chapter 6. Getting It Back. When he gets to the hotel, something is wrong. His sixth sense, as you will, tells him that he has to hurry. He reaches his room and finds out that the door is open. The window is open as well, but there is no one there. Marthas! He yells. Garso, is that you? Marthas, what are you doing on the balcony? I was attacked. Some guys with guns came in here, but before they were here, I heard them in the hallway, and I hid on the balcony, hoping that they would just leave without looking there. Do you know where they went? They must still be in the hallway. I am surprised you didn't see them when you were there. Okay, Garso says. Let's see if we can find them. Are you crazy? Didn't you hear me? They have guns. I have one too, but we don't want to fight them, we just want to follow them. Ah, now that's more like it. No sooner said than done, Garso gets the gun out of his suitcase and the duo moves to the hallway, where they see some men with sunglasses and guns walking around. Garso and Marthas hide behind a corner and occasionally look around it. I think they're leaving, Garso says. Let's see where they are going. They follow the men at a distance, out the hotel doors, through the narrow city streets, and into a big barn. They hide behind some crates and watch as the men report what happened to their boss. Sorry, sir, one of the men says. We couldn't find them. Where did they go? Unbelievable. I just know those two are here to figure out who stole the statue. I recognize them. Did you see them when you stole it, boss? No, but I know they work there as detectives. Oh, well. You idiots couldn't even find them? Then forget about it. Leave me alone. But, boss. Now! The men leave the barn and the big boss is left to himself. Garso winks at Marthas and signals to follow him. Slowly, they walk around crates and get closer. Suddenly, Garso gets out of his hiding place. "Hold it right there," he says while pointing the gun at the boss. "Ah, the great Detective Garso has come to get his monument back," he says. "Do you have any idea who I am?" "I was just about to ask you," Garso says. "I am Richard. I own almost every hotel in this city. I could easily snap my fingers and have 100 men show up here and arrest you." "I would shoot you before you would blink," Garso says. "What do you want?" Richard asks. "I want to know where the monument is, and I want the pearl." Richard takes a turquoise object out of his pocket and asks, "Oh, you mean this object? Here, catch!" Richard throws the pearl at Garso. "No, don't catch it," Marthas shouts, who jumps in front of him and catches the pearl instead. Poof! Marthas is gone, and the pearl falls on the ground. "You evil snake! Where did you teleport him to, huh?" "Oh, let's just say that he is going for a nice swim in the Bay Area." "Why would you send him there?" "It's one of the first places I thought of. It has sharks, and it's close to the monument you're looking for. I don't mind telling you that, because you'll never find it in this big city. Ha 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 ha!" "I should kill you right now," Garso says. "Go ahead, let's see where it gets you. A lawsuit? Prison? Go ahead, Garso, shoot me." Garso really wants to kill this jerk, but he knows he can't just get away with it. So instead, he picks up the pearl and runs off. He doesn't care if any of Marthas's men follow him. All he wants is to save his friend. Garso runs as fast as he can to the docks in the Bay Area. He arrives after about 12 minutes. "Marion!" he yells. "Marion!" "Garso!" After a few minutes, Garso sees Marthas swimming back to the shore. He is struggling for breath, but he swims as fast as he can. "Get out of there, Marthas!" Garso shouts. "There are sharks!" I know. I haven't seen any of them yet," Marthas says. "I guess I am lucky." Garso looks at Marthas, who is soaking wet. "I almost thought you had become shark dinner, Marthas." "I have to tell you that this was one of the creepiest experiences ever. I caught that pearl, and all of a sudden, I landed in the sea. Did you happen to get it?" "I did, and thanks to you, I was able to." "Well, I guess I would have had it if it would have hit you, but then I had to come get you out of the water." "True." "Any idea what we should do now?" Marthas asks. "The monument should be near here. We should look for it." "How do you know?" "Richard told me," Garso says. "Wait, he just told you? Don't you think that's a trick?" "I don't think he knows who he's dealing with," Garso says. "Come on, let's walk around a little bit." The two of them begin inspecting the buildings near the docks. For an hour or two, they wander around, not sure where to find what they're looking for. It's the middle of the night, and both of them are getting tired. But Garso encourages Marthas not to give up, secretly encouraging himself to hang in there himself. "How about that one?" Marthas asks after a while. "That could be something," Garso answers. "Let's go check it out." In front of them is a huge warehouse, hundreds of feet high, suspicious to say the least, of hiding a tall statue like the one from their hometown. The warehouse is dark. It looks deserted. They sneak into the back door, breaking it open after kicking at it. Garso knows it's illegal to do so, but he justifies it by saying that the monument is worth millions and the door lock only a few bucks. When they get inside, they can hardly believe it. "It's the shining star," Garso says. "Look, I bet you he had his employees build this warehouse and then teleported it over here." "Wow, I know how it happened," Marthas says. "But it's still hard to imagine how it is even possible to move an object this big into a closed space." "But now it's going back," Garso says. Without hesitating, he grabs the pearl out of his pocket and throws it at the humongous statue. Poof! The statue disappears, and the pearl falls on the ground. Garso and Marthas walk towards the pearl and pick it up. Garso puts it back into his pocket. Okay, can we get out of this town now? Marthas asks. It's dark outside, it's early in the morning, and the owner of the biggest hotel chains has already sent his thugs after us to kill us. Are you scared? Garso asks. Not really, just trying to be safe. You're right, though. We have nothing else to do here. We already teleported the monument back to its place, so we can leave. Good. Wait. Now that I think of it, there might be one more thing I want to do. Chapter 7. Found It. The next morning, Garso and Marthas are back at the office. They are both 4 hours late, since they haven't slept much. Garso is still rubbing his eyes. What's up, guys? He asks. Well, look who finally decided to show up. Did you know the monument is back? One of the co-workers asks. Garso realizes that nobody is aware of his departure with Marthas, and that they are still amazed by the sudden reappearance of the big statue. And for some reason, he doesn't feel like revealing all the secrets they have discovered, so he just plays along. He figures he should tell his boss, but let the rest of them stay ignorant. You don't say, Garso says with a smirk on his face. No, seriously, it just reappeared last night. Where were you? Sleeping, of course, Garso lies. Anyway, you missed a big news flash. Devra Country has lost 50% of their hotels. That rich guy named Richard has suffered major losses. His hotels suddenly vanished and he won't tell the media what he thinks has happened. Interesting, Garso says. Sounds like a weird story if you ask me. I mean, seriously, how can hotels disappear just like that? Marthas laughs. He knows that Garso is just pretending that he doesn't know anything, but they both know very well what happened. Garso looks at Marthas, who shakes his head and smiles before he walks to his coworker, puts his hand on his shoulder and says, Listen, Bobby, there are some things that will always stay a mystery, no matter how much you try to find the truth. It's just one of those magical things in life. Don't you think, Garso? Absolutely, Garso agrees. I don't think we'll ever find out where those hotels got what happened to those hotels. The end. This has been Kids Detective, a story about a magical pearl, adventure stories for kids. Written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.